Gremlins won't stop us today, folks. We are here. It took us a minute, but we finally got it working. We think. I hear me. Leroy, do I hear you?
Testing one, two, three on the microphones on the ones and twos. This is Leroy Green coming to you from live.
Live. There we go. Look at that live. What a concept.
Live.
It's been a minute since we've been
It
live, man.
has. It has.
We went across the world, or at least across the country. Had a fun time over there. Picked up some memorabilia. I got this nice Comic Con jersey here. It's nice. Feel good in that.
I hadn't even opened some of the stuff that I bought. I mean, some of the shirts I've worn, but there's like some. I bought some action figures. I'm
Hmm.
trying to set up to do an action figure live stream of just a bunch of action figures that I've gotten, and two of them I got from San Diego. So I
You know,
wanted
you've been talking about this live stream action figures for years, even on the other channel.
well, we did action figures. I did unboxings on the other channel. I wanted to do. The problem is I don't know how to do it. Like I've been watching other people's setups, and I don't know if I have the right equipment to pull it off.
I
And
mean,
every
don't you
time
just
I
need
go,
two cameras?
yeah, but if as evidence of tonight, I need new gear because the laptop wouldn't work and the cameras wouldn't work. How
Well, I
many
mean,
headsets did I
don't
go
don't
through?
trust don't trust the government.
Well, I mean, I can't. I just need new gear because
If 50 years of hip hop taught us anything, don't trust the government.
think about it. How many headphones did I go through before you were able to hear me clearly?
I mean, it was a few.
The government.
That there we go. Fair enough. Ken from Chicago is in the chat. We know more people will come in. Hopefully, it's been a minute since we've been live. Letting people slowly come in as we get these gremlins worked out. Ken, nice to see you live, sir. Yeah. Hopefully, with some more people, we can talk other stuff. What's been going on with you, man? Any changes in your life?
My wife is seeing Beyonce right now, so I'm a single dad for the night. Um,
Okay, so you got the kids.
yeah, I put them down.
You mean down
Woo!
to sleep, not like down to kill them, right?
I hope not. I hope they still alive. Let me check this monitor.
There we go. Fantastic.
Check sure these boys are still alive. Oh, there's one of them. See the other one? Oh, he sleep too. Okay.
There we go. All
At
right.
least I hope they sleep.
Unless you
Um,
figured out a way to hack your cameras and loop it.
now they're not. So let me tell you a little story. How paranoid black person I am. I refuse to get cameras that had an internet connection for that very reason. I don't
Okay.
know if you remember that story of people were hacking
Hmm.
cameras, and so people were like talking on the cameras, and like you can. So I told Katie we purposely were not going to buy cameras that connected to the internet or Wi-Fi. So it's a closed loop. Those cameras only go to this monitor and nothing else. I
Okay.
refuse to buy Wi-Fi cameras. I refuse to use Siri and Echoes.
Fair enough. All right,
I don't
man.
have a I don't have a smartwatch. Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm paranoid. Like I am paranoid ASF. I like doing this. Oh, it's okay.
Hmm.
But I was scared to get a smart TV for so long because the camera's always on. And so yeah, I'm definitely the old paranoid black dude um who's like what was that movie? Remember Enemy of the State?
Yeah.
So remember Gene Hackman's character?
Hmm.
He was in a that his characters from a previous movie from back in the day. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but that's me.
Okay.
That's literally me. That like I'm paranoid as
Hmm. All right. We've been talking, shooting it as it were for a little bit. What are we talking about tonight, man? This is your topic. I know this is a big. You got on the shirt. There we. I mean,
so
I'm gonna let you lead this discussion, and I'll try to chime in where I can. But what
okay.
we doing?
So Rolling Stones put out an article, but I mean it's not that Rolling Stones put out the article, but here's the article. Cool Herc in the history and mystery of hip hop's first day. August 11th is considered the birthday of hip hop. The creation of hip hop is goes back to DJ Kool Herc's block party on August 11th, 1973. That's the date we kind of all agreed on. 1520 Sedgwick Ave. It was a block party. Kool Herc DJ'd. He's considered the pioneer of hip hop. The Bronx set the tone for hip hop, and that genre of music has tapped into everything. It's worldwide. It is And right now we're celebrating the 50 years of hip hop. And it made me think when it comes to hip hop and it comes to that genre of music and how it has influenced and taken over the world, it got me thinking about how has hip hop influenced or the relationship hip hop has had with nerddom, the culture. Uh,
Hmm.
I it's I got a hip Wu Tang shirt on right now. I've got Ghostface Killer's album Pretty Tony back there. Um, Hip hop to me and nerddom, whether it's comics, whether it's anime, whether it's movies, soundtracks, the soundtrack of hip hop to me is synonymous with nerddom. And as I grew up and as other people grew up, those things started to influence each other. Um,
Ken from Chicago says it. For him, the intro to hip hop was circa 1980.
Mhm.
Somewhat 40 years later.
Yeah, so and it goes to show you how relevant this genre of music is that it has seeped into everything. Um, and comics, video games, movies, anime, there's really nothing it hasn't touched. And I just wanted to kind of go over and talk about some of the way it is filtered into this genre.
For me, when I think about it, the biggest overarching thing I think is that both like pop culture, nerd culture, and hip hop were always kind of anti-establishment, or at least
Hmm.
they weren't the normal things that people liked, right?
Yeah.
They were kind of like, oh, this is this outsider thing, this is this thing that people don't know about, and they kind of speak to that and kind of relate to that about just because it's not the main thing doesn't mean it can't be cool. It doesn't mean it can't talk about relevant stuff. It doesn't mean it can't enlighten you and inspire you, but it just kind of starts from that idea of the other. And then once you kind of take that first step in, whether it's hip hop or whether it's nerd stuff, you can find something that you like. Just like not everything in nerd culture is for everybody, not everything in hip hop is for everybody, but you could probably
No.
find a song that you'll like, a tempo that you like, somebody with lyrics that you like, and you're like, oh, and that's kind of how you expand your hip hop vocabulary or your nerd culture vocabulary.
Some people can find everything they like. So the funny thing about hip hop for me is that it's 50 years old.
Hmm.
And up until within this last decade, I was still defending it in our newsroom. So I remember when I want to say Arizona State, I think it was Arizona State. Um, there was a story we had in one of our newscasts where they were talking about, and you know what, I don't want to say it was Arizona State because I just remember we were doing the story, and it was a college that was saying we're going to offer a minor in hip hop, the education, the history. We're going to offer a class about this genre of music, just like they offer a genre, a class about jazz. They offer a class about, you know, classical music. They were one of the first, and I remember it was within the last 10 years. And then subsequently, we've seen more colleges invest in that. Um, but I remember,
I just typed in Arizona State hip hop minor, something does come up. So
okay, thank you.
if it wasn't them, they definitely have it now. So
Well, like I said, it was Berkeley. I know has a class. I remember Arizona State being one of them, but there's a couple other colleges that have done it. But the whole idea was that they were going to say, let's break this down. This genre of music is important to the culture, but it's important to society, and we're going to discuss it in an educated setting. And I thought that was amazing. It was a story in our one of our newscasts, and we always talk about when it comes to local news, what breaks through the mainstream, and once it breaks into when you're talking about a local news, you've arrived in a sense because the local news is supposed to be for everybody. It's not supposed to be that niche. No, I do not want you to make changes to this device, HP. Don't do that. Um,
y'all, if Leroy goes down, y'all know what y'all get when y'all came here. The three people that are in right now, you know what it is. We trying.
Hey
That
man,
that
I
moniker is true always.
I need a new laptop. But anyway, I remember having an argument, and I was so enraged because of how hip hop has influenced me, has helped me. I went off because a main anchor said,
Do I know who it is? Is it who
"Yep,
I think it is?
yep," and said,
You ain't got to
"Hip
say a name, but I feel like
said hip
that's
hop ain't hip hop ain't said what is this? This ain't music." And I remember, and in my head, all I heard was an old white man basically said, and it's not what he said, it was the connotation, it was the intimation of what he was
was
talking
behind the
about.
words.
Yes, and it was, this ain't music. Why would they offer a class about that? And in my head, all I heard was, this darky jigaboo nonsense isn't worth the fucking time to study. And I blacked out. And the next thing I know was he was mad saying, I'm tired of you always accusing me of being the old white man in the newsroom, like I'm out of touch. And everybody in the room was laughing. And you heard people cackling in the back because basically I had went off and I had said some things that HR probably would have been like, hey man, you can't say that.
I feel like I've heard you tell this story before, but I almost feel like it must have been a while ago because I don't think I was nightside when this happened. Was
You
I even
weren't.
at the station?
You were at the station. You might have been, but you were nightside. James Starks was in sports. So
Okay.
if you remember him,
Hmm.
he was nightside.
Hmm.
That's when it happened because he was back there
Okay.
with Reggie in sports, and all you heard was laughter from back there,
Hmm.
him losing it because I just went off. And I was on the other side of the room next to like the news director's office, and that's when we were like sitting next to the producer, the director, the producer, and the anchors would all sit next to each other.
Okay.
So when he went off and said his little comment, done. I
Hmm.
was like, because it was personal. That he didn't just come for hip hop. He came for hip hop, but it came for me because it's one of those things where you like, I am hip hop. I
Hmm.
grew up. I'm 46. I'll be 46 years old. So I grew up like this genre of music is what influenced me, and I grew up with this music. We're relatively the same age, and so when he attacked it, he was attacking me, and I took it personal. Um, and it's funny.
That's Jordan meme. I took that personally.
I did. I
That has
did. I
never been
went
more true. Yeah.
it literally was, and I took that personal. And
Yeah.
I the one thing I remember saying was, "Fuck you," and I don't remember anything else. I blacked out.
Nice.
I said it,
Hmm.
and there was laughter. That's all I remember. Chris Brathwaite was there, still talks about it, and he was like, "Man, because when he got mad, he was shaking. He was doing that thing, and I was like,
Oh
nah,
wait, back
homie.
to like
August 12th. Yep,
yeah, okay, cool. You knew exactly where I was going. Okay,
yep,
cool.
yep.
All
It
right.
was like that, and because I was mad
Yeah.
because hip hop meant something for me. It was. I grew up with this music. I remember where I was when this came out, when that came out. I remember where I was when the Wu-Tang Clan came on the scene, when they did Cream. I remember um little bit of history. My On my mother's side, there are 7 brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles. My uncle, who was 9 years older than me, is more like an older brother.
Hmm.
He is 9 years older than me. He, I remember when we both were at my grandmother's house and Cream came out, and we were like, "You like Wu?" Like I was like, "You know who the Wu Tang is?" And he was like, "You know who the Wu Tang?" Like it was like literally the Spider Man meme where we were like,
Hmm.
and that I remember that moment. Like we still talk about it. And so that's to me is a personal thing. And to see how hip hop has perfect example. This is the ash can of I don't know if people can see it. I'll put it in the comments of the
You
Marvel covers.
did you see our Twitter today?
You know I can't get on Twitter right now.
Oh, that's the image I used for this.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I used that, and
So
then I superimposed like 50 years of hip hop. But that's
the
our
fi- the hip
yeah,
hop covers. I
yeah.
have I have a ton of these covers. You were with me when I sent them off, the ones, and the only reason why I sent them off, not because I wanted to sell them, I wanted to preserve them in
Yeah.
something. This is the Nas I Am album cover mashup with Miles Morales #1. These are my favorite cover. These are two of my favorite covers.
I
Um,
ended up getting the Kamala Khan, Lauren Hill one.
I got that one.
Yeah.
This is the Black album when Jay-Z was fake retiring
Mhm.
with Black Panther T'Challa, and it is this cover.
Mhm.
So like that combination of hip hop and Marvel has been there from the beginning.
I was talking with somebody earlier when I was telling them what we were about to talk about, and they were saying, yeah, they were talking about the fact that like back in the day, the Wu Tang would refer to themselves as Marvel characters.
Yes.
Like who was somebody was I know somebody was Iron Man, somebody was
Yep.
I don't know who's who, but just like I mean they've always kind of had that thing.
Here you go. The RZA, Bobby Digital. Here's the album cover for Bobby Digital. You can't really see it. I'll try to find it or put it in the comments. The person who did the album cover is Bill Sienkiewicz. Here
Mhm.
is the poster. The liner notes for the RZA's album is Bill Sienkiewicz. If you know who Bill Sienkiewicz is, he was one of the original artists on Daredevil. And so this is um here's here's the Ghostface. Ghostface was Tony Stark. Thank you. Thank you, Zaylin Maru.
Uh,
Ghostface was Tony Stark. Pretty Tony. Thank you.
just Jew Living Life was asking where can they find these covers?
I'm pulling them up
Somebody
right
put
now.
up maybe Amazon, eBay, something like that.
I'm pulling them up right now. So inside, the RZA says, "All you analog niggas prepare to be digitized." Bobby Digital is the b-boy hero for our times. Here's Bobby Digital. Um, so this marriage between hip hop and nerddom is because we were the like you talked about, we were the outsiders, and hip hop has always been about being the outsider. It
Mhm.
wasn't rock and roll, it wasn't soul, it was all Johnny Blaze. This is the conversation I wanted to have. Method Man was Johnny Blaze. You're right. It's Ken from Chicago. He was a Thor illustrator. Bill Sienkiewicz always was. So here's the actual book, and this contains all the hip hop covers. Now, if you want the actual covers, um,
One thing I want to ask you, and I don't want to throw off your train of
no,
thought,
go ahead.
but
Ask away because
you're always in the like comic book cover appraisal market. So are any of these hip hop covers worth any money? Like big money?
yes, yes. So here is. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up all of the covers. So they came in 2 different seasons. So here's season 1. Here's all the covers. So basically, so for the uninitiated, huge nerds or Wednesday warriors when it comes to comics, here is the. How do I chat? I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to talk to y'all and put it in the chat.
How do you chat?
Uh,
It should be under. Oh yeah, there should be chat on the side, on the right side.
There it is. Sorry, it's they changed it up on me. So
Yeah,
here's the
they changed the
variants.
text
So
sound.
here's the variants for the comics. Zaylin Maru, Johnny Blaze, any damn thing changed. Ghostface was Tony Stark, Pretty Tony, right up there. Um, uh, maybe Amazon, eBay, online, but here are you talked about which ones were worth something. Here's CBSI Comics. CBSI is comicbookinvest.com. They track the prices of comics. They tell people how to like what to buy, what not to buy, what to skip on. Here are what they consider the ones you should be searching for when it comes to these covers. So we can go through it real quick.
I mean, if you click on it, you could probably share the screen if you want.
I put it in the link that I'm trying to right now.
Okay.
Pull it up so I can share the screen. Share screen. See this. Here we go. So here's the ones that they did that people are like really checking for. So it started back in 2015. Um, Friend of the show, um, Sanford Green has done one of these covers too. Um, so if you see right now, the first one we got up is A Tribe Called Quest. It's Amazing Spider-Man. Then we've got Astonishing Ant-Man, Ready to Shrink, Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die. I don't have this one. Uh, you know what? I might have this one. I'll be honest with that. I don't know. Um, so here's the ones. I know I have this one. I don't have that one framed. Um, NWA, Straight Out of Asgard. I always think that this is one of my favorite. This is my avatar. Aesop Rocky, long live Cap, Sam Wilson. This is one of my favorite ones.
Mhm.
That imagery is just. You got Squirrel Girl, Tyler the Creator, Quimini. Uh, I love that album, and I had to get it because this is the one you were talking about.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
So if you're looking at Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that album is right here. Ugh. I'm sorry, y'all. I thought I'd be a little bit more organized and prepared, but them kids, they kicked my ass today. Them little Negroes were just all over the place today. I'll fish it out later. I actually have the album. ODB, Howard the Duck, Paid in Full, Eric B and Rakim. So here's the one. Here's the one that I wanted to bring up because we talk about the crossover and the collaboration between comics, nerddom, and hip hop. MF Doom got his name. His name is motherfucking Doom, named after Dr. Doom. This Negro, rest in power, my brother, because he's passed, always performed with the helmet on as an homage to Dr. Doom, because that's how ill he is. Nas, It Was Written, Illmatic, Spider-Man. Uh, I'm trying to find the one that Sanford did. Because I can't remember which one it is. I have that one. I love that one. The Fugees, the score. Oh, I love that one too. Death Certificate with Wolverine. Old Man Logan. That's another great one.
I typed it in real quick. It looks like he might have done the X-Men one, Extraordinary X-Men #1.
Oh,
At least just according
which
to when I type in, it says cover B variant Sanford Green Marvel hip hop cover. There was one near the top.
probably that sound.
He did that one and maybe Luke Cage.
I know he did Luke Cage. I was trying. Can you do you have it up right now?
Yeah, let's see if I can pull this up here for a second.
All right, let me stop sharing,
Let's see.
and then you can pull it up. Just living life. No, Zayla Monroe. Sorry. Ghost Dog is a very underrated album. Is a very underrated. Ghost Dog is a very
That one.
underrated movie. I'm sorry. That was Sanford's.
According to this, I don't know if this is
Okay.
accurate, but they say monsters.
I don't remember that one.
And then
Probably.
he had. They say this one according to Midtown Comics.
Okay.
If it pops up, let's see. I figured it would pop up right here. What's going on? I swear it didn't pop up, but it was like that first one that there we go.
Yep. Oh, that's De La Soul's album. Is that Sanford?
That's what they say.
If that's Sanford's, that's De La Soul's album. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's. I've always loved the fact that we were the outsiders, and I remember being the kid that liked comics and nerd stuff, and everybody else. Don't get me wrong, I like sports too. Me and my wife had this conversation last night. She was like, "Why do you like toys?" And I was like, "They are the physical manifestation of this thing that you loved growing up." whether it was a cool action figure based on a comic or a movie or a TV show or a cartoon or anime. It is the physical representation. Um, yeah, I was surprised that they did Stankonia with Captain America and Sam Wilson. That was like the what they chose always was interesting to me, only because I would have done different pairings. But I think that's the cool thing about all of this. It's like, what would you pair together? What album would you put together? Like, to me, I would have paired the Punisher with a DMX album. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have done that. That would have been me. But um that's just for me. So for me, so when it comes to hip hop, what do you remember your first introduction to hip hop was? Like, what was the first song that you were like, okay, because you're really into music more than me, more genres of music. You played in band. You a person who actually listens to songwriters. Who we've actually had this conversation. You were like, Taylor Swift is okay, but you were saying that what's her name? Uh Miley Cyrus is a better songwriter than her. And I was like, oh,
In
and
my
then
in my
somebody else,
opinion.
yeah, but you listen to the actual words of the songs that these young ladies are singing.
Man,
So
you
what
about
was
to
the
get me
first?
canceled. I wish you wouldn't said it like that. I
I
don't need the
mean,
Swifties coming after me. They already upset she's not coming to Charlotte.
they'll be all right.
Sir, you don't you do not know in my newsroom. They are upset.
Hey, they'll be all right. Beyonce's better anyway. I said it. Woo-hoo, come for me if you want
There
to.
we,
We out here in this channel.
there
That's right,
we,
Swifties. Come for me if you want to.
y'all can come get that smoke too.
come come get that smoke to this channel with the 10 of us holding it down in this front.
Right, fair enough. Oh man, what was the first hip hop song I remember? Golly, I have no idea.
Really.
No. Um. Uh.
Banks 757. Everybody in the chat, throw up the song or the album or where you were when you were like hip hop. This is something that meant something to you. Like that first time that you were introduced to this music and you were like, oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Man, you gotta give me a second to think about that. I don't know.
Okay. For me, it was Slick Rick. It was Slick Rick, and it was the Slick Rick's uh when the song she was like when the kid was like Uncle Ricky, and they talked about I'm trying to remember um oh snap, but let me get to these comments real quick. um
Yeah. So
Zayla Mar-
what I was
go
gonna
ahead, go ahead.
say. So on our end, I know the chat something crashed and it asked me to reload. I tried, it didn't work. I know people can still see the chat through YouTube. I don't know if you can see it lining up here, but if you want to read them out, just give
Mhm.
people if you want to do that, whatever.
Okay, so Bang 757 says BC Boys License to Ill. Zayla Maru said long before the Beehive we had the Killer Bees. Wu-Tang Clan in the house. Just Living says Rappers Delight age 11 in grade school. Then it was all Kim. That was Kim from Chicago. Sorry, said it was all over. Zayla Rue says my cousin played Life is Too Short one day, and I was hooked after that. For me, it was Slick Rick Children's Story. Um, Somebody was like, "Hey, you got to hear this," and I was like, "Huh,
I had to,
yes."
yeah. For me, I when Ken from Chicago put in Rappers Delight, I thought that's what it was, but I think the
Mhm,
thing that stuck out to me was LL Cool J Rock the Bells, and I
mhm,
had to go back and look up when that came out, 1985. So I definitely wouldn't remember it then because I was born in 1984. But for some reason,
mhm.
that song, I do remember that song. I don't know why, but I do remember that song probably like at 4 or 5, maybe. And it would have been probably my sister would have been playing it on her boombox or whatever. She's
Yeah.
older than me, so but that song stuck out to me, and I remember that really heavy bass drum beat and then mixing everything. But yeah, the LL Cool J Rock the Bells would have been it for me.
Like I said, for me, it was Slick Rick's Children's Story, and like I heard other people's songs, like I heard LL Cool J, like I heard everybody, but it was it was the storytelling behind children's story that got me. He was telling a story
Hmm.
on beat. Um, and I think the next one was uh, a Hollis Christmas Story. Um, uh, it just those and really Run DMC, because those, because again we call him Uncle Jay, but he's really like an older brother, and it was like the music he was listening to, we had to sneak because my grandparents, when I would stay with them, were very religious.
Hmm.
You know, they, it was, you could listen to some soul stuff, but it was gospel music 25/7.
Right.
Not 24/7, 25/7. Um, so when we would sneak and listen to stuff, when it was like Run DMC came out and all that stuff, no sleep till Brooklyn, you hear all of this stuff back from that time period. That's what I remember. And this idea of I was listening to something I shouldn't have been listening to. I'm introduced to something before that grown-ups didn't want you to hear.
Hmm.
And it was that feeling that made me like comics as well. That feeling of I'm reading something that should I be reading this? And that is what, I don't want to say catapulted me, but it was one of those things that just, that marriage is something that I always remember.
Hmm.
Uh, do you remember where you were when you first saw the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
God, pretty sure. Wait, you talking about the movie?
Yep.
Let's see, that was 1990.
Hmm.
So I would have seen it at home video. I don't think my parents would have taken me to the movie theaters to see it. I don't think.
Okay.
Home video somewhere. Probably at that point. I probably didn't see it when it first came out for sure. Even home video, 6 or 7. So maybe I'd been like 8 or 9, so maybe 3 years or so after it had come out, probably.
Hmm.
And I wonder if I saw the second one before I saw the first one, just because looking back on it now, that first one goes hard in terms of just,
Yes.
it's like, this is a intense thing to be a cartoon. I mean, to be fair, it definitely modeled itself more after the comic book than the cartoon at the time. But I probably saw that second one because it was a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna say somewhere in Colombia, I would have seen it.
Okay. Do you remember the soundtrack?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I feel like
When
you
do
about
you
to rock. You
remember
about
the?
to rock me with something.
No, I'm just wondering, like, when did you start realizing hip hop started influencing and started making its way into movies as far as soundtracks and songs, and that marriage started happening?
Uh, when did the movie Boomerang come out?
I want to say 90, that 97?
92.
Ooh,
Probably Boomerang.
okay.
And I remember that because that was a rated R movie, right? Oh yeah, it's definitely rated R. Of course
Yeah.
it was.
Oh yeah.
Um, I rem
Because remember, that was Eartha Kitt Marcus.
Yeah, she was wild. She was wild. Love it. Strong J.
Um,
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Eartha Kitt, also from South Carolina, in the house. Woo!
I remember that movie because I think we had moved from Florida at this point to be in Columbia, but we went down to Florida to visit relatives.
Mhm.
It was in the movie theater, and I remember my parents and probably cousins or whatever around that age were going to see the movie, and I pitched a fit about it, wanting to go see it. And somehow my parents acquiesced and let me go see that movie, and I definitely didn't need to see it at the time. I was like, huh, this movie
Of
is
course not.
what's going on here? Why am I seeing this movie in 1992? But I do remember that being a pivotal moment just because of the soundtrack, hip hop, R&B type of stuff being on that soundtrack. So probably that was what it was.
Okay. Only reason why I asked about the Turtles is because Vanilla Ice did Ninja Rap, and I remember how big that
Oh
was.
well, that
in
was
in
Turtles
my-
too.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I just remember when that came out, and I was like,
Oh yeah,
what is going on?
Yeah.
Like it was just like it was really one of those things where I was like SpongeBob meme when you're like that crossover. That was the first time that I really noticed that rap had infiltrated. But then it was like, is it really rap because it's Vanilla Ice? So it was one of those type things. But
Oh, well, that gets into an interesting question. What do you consider rap
go
and
ahead.
hip hop and stuff?
But that's one of the questions that people have, the arguments that people are having right now, and that we'll be having for as long as we're alive, because then that gets into what is rap, what is hip hop, are you hip hop?
Hmm.
Um, and when people are like for the culture, but it's just interesting because if you go back and look at like for me, I remember like right now we're having like if you think about this year alone, if you think about Across the Spider Verse, the new Turtles movie, which I have not seen yet, which I want to go see.
Sir, you told
Um,
me you were going to go see that and Meg.
I was, and then
Then the kids came in your life. Are they reminding you, hey, you
woo,
got responsibilities?
I tried. So I tried to sneak out of the house, and then well, not sneak out of the house. I tried to like,
Like, you a grown ass man. You got to sneak out your house.
I kind of do.
Okay, fair enough.
Ain't that grown?
All right.
I tried to put the wife and the kids down
Hmm.
so I can go to the movies. One day I did get them all down. I got like everybody was asleep. It was 9:19, and I was like, I'm just gonna pay $15 to fall asleep in a movie theater because I was just that tired.
Hmm.
Because work was, son, Kim from Chicago. Let me tell you right now,
No.
it hurt.
He's seen Meg.
I've seen Meg.
Sorry,
I
that
have
was
seen
yeah.
Meg too.
If I said that I was talking about Meg 2, not Meg. Apologize.
When I tell you right now, the Meg 2, when that movie trailer came out, and I was like, they're making a Meg 2 The Trench, and I still haven't seen it yet. I want to see that. There are 4 movies right now that are out that I have not
Let
seen,
me
and it
guess.
is killing me. Go ahead.
I'm a guess, and I'm gonna guess in the order of the way you want to see.
Go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say Meg 2 as
Yep.
number 1.
Yep.
I'm gonna say Oppenheimer is number 2,
Correct.
and then I'm assuming it's Ninja Turtles and Barbie, but I don't
Correct.
know which 3 and
Correct.
4. So I'm gonna guess.
Ninja Turtles is next, and then
Okay,
Barbie.
well,
You are
there we
correct.
go.
It is killing me that I have not seen these 4
I've
films.
I've seen Meg 2 and Turtles, and I still haven't seen Oppenheimer and Barbie, and maybe I'll see Barbie tomorrow. I don't know.
I have to see Oppenheimer while it's still in theaters. Like I cannot not see that.
Well, I mean, if you're not seeing it in IMAX, apparently you're not seeing it in the proper way it's supposed to be seen. So,
And that's what I'm trying to get to.
mhm.
Trying to get to it while it's still out there. So it is killing me. Um, I'm gonna tell you right now, Kim from Chicago, Guardians 3 might be the best one. It goes for me. It goes Guardians 1, Guardians 3 is 1A, and then it's Guardians 2. Like it is that good. My son started watching it, and I was like, turn it off. I can't right now. Because it's that good.
Mhm.
It's gonna hit you in the feels. I'm not gonna lie. It is in my running. We're gonna do a top. We're probably gonna do, hopefully if we can, like a breakdown of like what we think the top summer movie films are. It's in my top 5.
Okay.
Guardians is a top 5. For some, just it might be in the top 5 of Marvel movies. Period.
Mhm.
It's that good.
When we were talking about and we can bounce around like
Mhm.
we always do, we were talking about different movies that came out this year that have hip hop influence. I think you saw this. You did see it on Peacock, Polite Society. Did you see it? Yeah, because we
Yes,
reviewed it.
yes,
Yeah, that's
yes.
a very had a lot of big hip hop influence in that movie as well.
You could, and that's the thing that I want to talk about. The fact that we talked about Across the Spider Verse, the Spider Verse films, to me, if Beyond the Spider Verse is as good as the first 2, it will be the greatest comic movie trilogy of all time.
You tell no lies. I would agree with that.
It will be the greatest comic book movie trilogy of all time. Nothing will touch it.
Oh, I forgot. You didn't see Joyride, did you?
Not yet.
I saw
It's it, but
Joyride, and that is a
is it
movie that has hip hop influence.
really?
And
It's
I don't want to spoil anything, but one of the biggest songs of 2 or 3
Mhm.
years ago is used in an amazing way in that movie. That is really good.
Okay.
So
It's so I have a list of movies that like it just popped up on Voodoo for me to see.
mm,
Um, but yeah, Geeky Andre, the whole movie trailer, the fact that Cube is in it is an homage to hip hop.
mhm.
And we talked, and here's another movie that I know that you probably hadn't seen that you need to see it while we still got Paramount Plus. Trans
Oh, I saw it.
Trans
I saw it
oh,
as soon as it went to Paramount Plus.
Rise of the Beast. We had to
Man,
review it then. If you,
what
you know,
a
hey,
bad movie. I
what?
said it. That
You
that
think it was
movie sucks. I
really?
do.
We have got to review that
Or you
because
know
I am
what?
on the
And that maybe I'm
opposite.
being
I'm
hyperbolic. I would definitely like Bumblebee better for me. Um, but yeah, I'm not feeling this movie. I enjoyed the
really.
soundtrack, but I wasn't
I'm
feeling
gonna
the
tell you right
movie.
now. That's top three Transformers movies for me.
Okay.
It really is. Like that soundtrack.
Hmm.
That Geeky Andre says Rise of the Beast had 90s. It was an homage to 90s hip hop.
Sure.
It really was. It really was a love letter to 90s hip hop. And so you have these movies, Mutant Mayhem, the trailer, Across the Spider Verse, just the whole. Um, again, the lighting, but this is literally a love letter to hip hop. Like I talk about the Spider Verse, Sony Spider Verse movies are literally a love letter to hip hop when it comes to um where if you think about the first movie, think about Miles, him tagging with his uncle, the shoes, the way the movie is shot. Um, I don't want to live in New York. I love New York. I love visiting. I love it. I love everything about it. But that movie is a love letter to us.
Geeky Andre
Go
says,
ahead.
"What Michael Transformers: Rise of the Beast was way better than most Transformers films." Come on, man. I could agree with that, and I think I was just being more antagonistic. But it's definitely, I think in my mind it got built up because people liked it a lot, and
I did.
Leroy kept talking about Mirage and
I
Pete
did.
Davidson, and I'm like, this movie's fine. It's whatever.
Really. We
Was
loved it.
it wasn't. I mean, for me, Bumblebee really, and maybe because Haley Steinfeld is her awesome self in that movie, and she really carried it a lot. But for me, that's
Hold on.
better.
So I want to get to. I'm going to get to just Jude living life, but right now, Rise of the Beast was way better than most Transformers films. Michael, it's funny that you say that because you have derided Michael Bay for years.
Hmm.
The Last Night,
Hmm.
you have talked because I like The Last Night. I know it's bad, but I like The
Hmm.
Last Night. But you've talked about how bad that movie
Hmm.
is. Where would you put it with Rise of the Beast?
I'm still put Last Night below Rise of the Beast.
Okay, just checking.
I think it's more just recency bias because that's the most recent Transformers movie I've seen. I'm sure if I were to go back and see others, I'd be like, oh yeah, these really were bad.
Okay, just checking. So I just wanted to make sure. So let's get to Spider Verse because that's um. So just you living life across the Spider Verse is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I'm gonna agree with you. I haven't picked up the soundtrack yet, but this is we saw a leap of faith from Kim from Chicago. That image right there from the first Spider Verse
Is that upside
to
down?
me. No, it's the um, back of the album cover from the record store day.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I was just trying
Spider
to.
Verse. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's because the words are right here.
Yeah, yeah. I guess
It's
what is he?
yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
It's from the
Like when he jumps off the building.
uh-huh.
So shouldn't he be flipped?
He should be, but
Okay.
that's the way
That
they
yeah.
went
That's like
for it.
that threw me off. It's fine.
So we talked about this is the 50th year. Hip hop is 50 years old,
Hmm.
and three of your biggest movies, your summer blockbusters, have soundtracks that literally are hip hop soundtracks. Whether it's Across the Spider Verse, Rise of the Beast, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, um, the people who are making these films are literally taking their music, their love of music, of love of hip hop, their childhood music, and putting it into the films for the masses. And now, for those
Barbie
people who
also has
say,
some hip hop songs on it.
I hadn't seen it yet, but I want to.
Well,
Metro,
was it Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice? I think they did a hip hop version of
the
the
Barbie
Barbie
song.
song,
Yep.
whatever. Yeah.
hmm Just Jude for Life. You're correct. Metro Boomin. To me, he arrived. This movie, this soundtrack. Am I dreaming? I play that for the kids. Like go to like I'm going to buy every version of this soundtrack, digital, physical, CD, vinyl. If that shit comes on tape,
Okay.
if Across the Spider Verse comes out on tape, I'm buying it. Kim from Chicago. I'm definitely a Barbenheimer. Like if I had the time, I wanted to go see it in San Diego when it came out, but I wasn't willing to pay the San Diego prices for movies, and I didn't want to miss anything from San Diego Comic Con. But I like if I definitely wanted, I definitely would be one of those people who would go see Barbie early in the day and then come back and see Oppenheimer at
A
night.
slight
I
tangent.
definitely be one.
Speaking of Comic Con, this is the first live thing we've done since we did a press play, a tape winning from Comic Con.
Yes.
And I don't know if he watches our stuff live or if he just comments, but we got to meet one of our fans, Jedi Mike, which was very
Correct.
awesome. We took a photo with him, and it was very uplifting just to know that we inspired somebody as just two nearly 40 something dudes who do this as a side project and it's not our main job. Um,
We wanted to be. We wanted to be.
yeah, we a long way from that though, but we'll
Hey man, kind of funny started in the kitchen.
kind of funny,
Kind of
kind of funny also started with IGN.
hold on. Kind of funny started at IGN, and they were dudes who did streaming in their kitchen, and look at them now.
Sure.
Speak it into
Okay.
existence.
Fair enough.
We have journalism backgrounds, and we know how journalism works. We know the ins and outs. Yes, this is a side project, but in 2024, we're speaking it into existence. And at the end of this, we're going to tell you what we're working on coming up next.
There
Go
we
ahead.
go. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, it was nice just to meet a fan who had seen our content because that blew my mind. I mean, and it's nice that
It
it's
did.
interactive. It's nice to interact with
You didn't
people
know
in
how
the
to
chat.
deal with it.
Well, it was just,
It's
yeah,
like
it's
you
like,
did,
this is interesting. It was,
like you didn't know how to like process. You were like, I can't process, because when I broke it down for you, you were like, you were like, we just got to do this. I can't process this right now.
yeah. Well, I'm trying to say it's nice to interact with people now in chat and like see people who come in all the time, like Ken from Chicago, Bank 757. And I'm seeing some names that I don't normally see. I don't know if it's their first time commenting or whatever, but like Geeky Andre, if you've been here before, awesome. If not, welcome to our chat. Just you living life. I feel like I've seen that before. Kung Fu Boy. Some people I've seen throughout or whatever, but it's nice to talk to people in chat,
Mhm.
but to talk to somebody live in person and to hear that they like our content, it's nice. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So
It
just
was
shout out Jedi Mike for seeing us in person, and hopefully whenever we are live places, we'll see you guys as well. So
Oh yeah, it was really, and this is what I hit Mike with, that I was trying to get him to understand. We do this for ourselves. We did this for the station, that we worked at, and we realized let's do it for ourselves. Let's keep doing it, but let's do it for ourselves. We don't have the backing of anybody right now. We're just doing this on our own. And so Mike said, Jedi Mike said he was like, and at first we were like, is he fucking with us? Because there's no way you know who we are. We're in the press room. We're doing the interviews for Legion M and their Kickstarter for the Robert Smalls graphic novel, which I bought 2 of them and supported it. So he comes up to us and is like, yo, I know who y'all are. And we were skeptical because we were like, really? These niggas? And so when he said, when you do the live streams with your baby, I was like, he knows who we are. Because that's something
yeah,
he was like, he knew. And we talked to him and I said, Michael, think about this for a second. We are 2 dudes on the internet doing this. This man is in San Diego at the same time with us in the press room, covering the same thing we're covering. He's from the East Coast, we're from the East Coast. He has watched our stuff and started his own channel. So check out Jedi Mike on YouTube, his Jedi Mike 808 on Twitter, I believe. And I said he came up to us and spoke, and I saw him later on that night. But I said, think about that for a second. How small, like the world is massive, the world is big. But I think how small this world is, that he was in the same room as us.
Hmm.
And I said, and that's when Mike was like, I like you could literally tell he was buffering, where it was like you could see in his head, I can't comprehend that right now. We just need to get these interviews. And that's what I was just like mind blown. So you're right. Thank you for bringing that up. I want to get back to Just You Living. If you were to choose an artist, dead or alive, to do the next Spider-Verse soundtrack, who would you pick? And I wouldn't pick him to do the soundtrack, but I would pick him to do a song, and I would love for him to collaborate um, with somebody. I loved what Metro Boomin was doing on that soundtrack. I want to keep that vibe going for across for from across the Spider Verse, and to me, also the albums grew up. So that first album was like, if you look at who was on that first album, because to me, don't let's start a riot is my favorite song. Like when I go to work and I'm trying to get hype, uh, that's the song that I'm like, everybody trying to start a riot.
Sure.
And then
Sure.
uh, Vince Staples is on that album. Then you get Across the Spider Verse. You have Metro Boomin. I would like to throw it back. Give me the RZA helping to produce the album. One song, if he was still alive. All features. The RZA is just. I need a song with the RZA and Prince and Vince Staples. Give me that.
Interesting.
That's what I want.
I'm trying to think who I would want. I had somebody and then I lost it. I think ODB
Okay.
working with who was the other person that I thought in my mind? It was somebody who was alive. Frank Ocean.
Okay.
And I want him to do the whole soundtrack.
The whole soundtrack.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. And somebody else who's really good. Who is the guy that does like produces stuff for Childish Gambino? The Swedish guy, Ludwig, whatever, Gorvinson or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's the guy who does The Mandalorian, right? Isn't that the same guy, or is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's the same guy who does The Mandalorian. He also did something else this year. I mean, so here's the thing.
Oh, did he do Oppenheimer?
Yeah, because he's now the new. He's the new.
John Williams.
I wasn't gonna say John Williams.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say because he's not there yet. I was gonna say Hans Zimmerman.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say Hans Zimmerman because Hans has those sweeping orchestra movements, and Michael
Giacchino.
Michael no, that's his name, but that's not how you say it.
That's not how you say it.
Nah, it's not. Yeah, it's I forget what it is because he's the one who did the Batman, and he also directed Werewolf by Night. Mm-hmm. I would like to see more of him, but you talked about.
Now you're trying to figure out how you say it. Like, interesting.
There is a pronunciation guide.
Okay.
For his name because he talked about it. We talked about hip hop. We talked about soundtracks. Since we're talking about soundtracks, we talked about the RZA, aka Bobby Digital. The RZA got hooked up with soundtracks because he is good friends with Quentin Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
And Quentin Tarantino was like, yo, you should start doing soundtracks. And then, so here's the cool thing about hip hop and why I love hip hop. You've got a guy in Quentin Tarantino, a filmmaker, an auteur,
Man, Django
Who was?
Unchained. What a good soundtrack that was.
Let's look it up. Let's look up who did Django Unchained.
Oh, what was the Netflix Western movie? Harder They Fall?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the guy who works with Jay Z.
Hmm.
Um, so Django Unchained soundtrack is done by um, because 100 Black Coffins is the song that I always remember,
Hmm.
and then Freedom from Anthony Hamilton.
100 Black Coffins, was that Rick Ross?
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to see who produced it. It's from Universal. I can't see who produced it right now. Uh, but you said something just now earlier. Go back to what you just said. What is
Mm.
was it the Harder They Fall? What was that?
I think that's what it was called, Harder They Fall.
Yes. Um,
The
that was
Harder They Fall,
directed
yeah.
by. Yes, that was directed by. Um,
The Bullets?
sh- no. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Hold on. James Samuel. James Samuel is the writer and director behind it. James Samuel's the guy behind Jay Z's last.
Wait,
Who
are you
directed
talking about the music or the movie?
the movie? The movie is directed by James Samuel. James Samuel or James. I'm saying it's James.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So his
he's
stage
also
name is
known
The
as the Bullet.
Bullets. Okay,
Yes,
got it.
but he's also the guy who directed Jay Z. He was producer behind Jay Z: The Legacy, but also he was the one who produced and directed a couple of Jay Z videos and had worked with him, and that's how he was able. And that's what I'm saying. Like in this nerddom, how amazing hip hop
Hmm.
is that now we are at this. We're not at a precipice anymore. We're not in that idea of these old white people saying that's not music. We're now at the moment where hip hop is now the soundtrack and the music. It's mainstream enough that we are now seeing. Remember when director uh X, was it Little X?
Lil Nas X?
No, not Lil Nas X. That's not who I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
You know where I'm going, right?
No, Little. I don't. What's Little X? What?
Really?
I,
I do it every chance I get. It's
are you
not
about to
Little
make a
X. I'm
Belly
sorry.
reference? What are we talking
Little
about?
Yes, Little X is a disciple of Hype Williams, who directed what?
I don't know.
Belly, and that
I don't know
was
what that movie is.
you know exactly what it is. But that's where we are. That we now have people who have studied under. In other words, when we have regular mainstream, where you think about Spike Jones, that name was always synonymous with music videos, and then he was able to direct his own movies. We're now seeing that with our music. We're now seeing Hype Williams, because back in the day Belly was an anomaly.
Hmm.
Hype Williams was always the music video director, and then he got his own movie. It's a cult classic for a lot of people. Some people deride it. Those people are named Michael. um,
All right, fair enough.
but that was a blip on the radar. But now we're seeing James Samuel directing a Netflix movie with some of the biggest names in Hollywood: Lakeith Stanfield, Idris Elba, Jonathan Majors, Regina King. And it's cool. We talked about that. The music, we talked about the soundtrack, we talked about the shot selection. And that's how far hip hop has come. And that's what I guess I'm just so excited about to see. In 50 years of hip hop, we have gone from being Cool Herc having a house party where people are like, "What is this?" to now hip hop is so mainstream. It is literally the soundtrack of the summer movie. It's literally movies throwing back homages to New York, to Gotham City, and a Spider-Man movie from Sony. that it's turned into maybe one of the greatest comic book franchises of all times and across the Spider Verse or into the Spider Verse.
Indeed.
True, Kim from Chicago, you're right, but none of them from our side have gone on to be these names like a Spike Jones. I think what is it? Spike Jones, please rewind. Be kind and rewind. Is that Spike Jones too?
Oh,
I'm trying to
I don't
remember.
know.
I used to know this. Uh, hold on. Yeah, Spike Jones has done. He's produced. He was a producer on Her, writer for The Wild Things. Being John Malkovich directed. Um, oh, he was a producer on Jackass Forever. That's new. I didn't know that.
Okay.
No, just like I said, like we were talking about. Gosh, I hate IMDb right now. I really hate IMDb.
Hey, why would you go to IMDb and just not Google?
Because I was already on it.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, this is honestly just a James Smith. Welcome. We were talking about that at the beginning. Ghostface Killer, pretty Tony behind me, and MF Doom. Zayla Maru, yes, Vaseline on the camera. Hype Williams. Uh, I'm just in celebrating 50 years of hip hop. James Smith, you talk about this Bobby Digital, this Negro right here. Um, so Run from Run DMC has his own comic line or his own comic world. Wu-Tang Clan did their own comics. Sanford Green, friend of the show, did some of that work. I just wanted to do something on hip hop and the core and the collaboration between these two things, nerddom and hip hop. After 50 years, it's only going to the marriage is only because like I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Echo Clothing?
Yeah.
Echo had a line with Marvel Comics. I used to wear. I remember somebody stole the shirt. I had a Captain America Mark Echo shirt.
Do you remember
Yeah.
his video game?
Which one was that? Like the Def Jam video game he
No,
had?
no, no. It was a Mark Echo game. It was called Mark Echo Getting Up, I think.
Nah. I remember he was. I remember he was big.
Mark
I don't
Echo's
remember the
Getting
video
Up. Contents Under Pressure.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that game. It was all right.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. All right, man. We've been doing this. We've been going about an hour.
I mean, I could go another hour, but I know you got to go. So Michael was alluding to it in the beginning. Um, he was asking like big things going on. For me, I can go ahead and say it. Uh, I have left my old job, and I'm no longer at News 19, and I am now at South Carolina Educational Television. I work for the state now, and I am a director and producer with SCE TV. So I'll be there from now on. It was a big change. It was a 9 to 5, which allowed me to be a regular person, a regular dad, to be able to have a 9 to 5. So that was the big change for us. So there's some things changing about the channel. We're going to try to be a little bit more consistent with stuff, communicate because I have a regular schedule. So
But that,
I won't
I mean, I guess, but like, okay,
because I'll be able to
that's a promise that you just put out there. Okay.
no, because with the regular schedule, I'll have access to things I didn't have access to before.
Okay.
And I'll be learning things that'll help the channel out. So yes, Zaylen Rue, thank you. I was there for 15 years. It was a big shift for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was partial. There were a lot of factors. I'll just break down real quick. One, it was I needed to be on the same schedule as my wife. As my boys grow up, we've been together since 2013. We have never been on the same schedule. So that was one thing that was important. Two, my kids being able to put them to bed, have like dinner time with them, that was a big deal. So that was another thing that the whole schedule thing. And the third thing, which is very important, something I've always talked about on the channel, and I've always been honest with y'all, is mental health. Um, I want to thank Michael because I didn't recognize it when it was happening in real time. One day, me and Michael were talking, and he said, "You know that job is killing you, right?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, did you not know?" He was like, "Yeah, there's something wrong with you being there." And it was really one of the catalysts. It's not the only one, but it was one of the catalysts that made me say, I need a change. So the reasons for leaving was partially for my mental health. Doing news, as much as I love it, I couldn't be in that control room every day. Seeing the news that we see every day was wearing on me mentally. It was having an effect that I did not realize that I needed to get out of that room. Um, so that was one of the things that made me leave. This last week, let me tell you, was hard. I was out on the shoot. I've been working with people who are doing a narrative. So that we were doing training videos about human trafficking. The client was the Attorney General's office. So
Pamela Yvette? No. Attorney General. Alan Wilson?
boom.
Yeah.
So they wanted some training videos explaining what human trafficking is because a lot of people think human trafficking is sex, but it's not. Human trafficking is also deals with labor, people not getting paid for their labor, people, and it's all these different things. So it's like working with people who they don't shoot on film, but shooting more like a movie set and setting that up. So I'm working with professionals who are doing lighting, who are scripts. Kim for Chicago, peonage, slavery. It's modern form of slavery. You're right. So it was really interesting working with those people and seeing what they do. And I'm working with people who are like working on documentaries, stories about South Carolina, educating people. I did not know this. Like I knew it, but I didn't know it. There's literally a pipeline from Barbados to South Carolina. That's how South Carolina got founded because it was the island of Barbados was basically destroyed. They deforested the whole island. They needed a new place. And they were like, hey, if you go to South Carolina, it wasn't South Carolina then, you might prosper. And that's how South Carolina got founded. I met the guy who was behind that documentary. And it's amazing to work with some people who and I needed to get out of there. So that's what Michael was alluding to. So that's where we are now. Um, so yeah. So I'm gonna be working with people who's gonna teach me some things uh, on the other side of the spectrum when it comes with so journalism over here, and on the other side, I'll be working with people who do long form storytelling, documentaries, you know, training videos, learning more editing stuff. So yeah,
Word. You were telling people we got plans next week, or we got plans coming up.
yep. So next week we're going to be covering, thanks to um, Donald Brock, who's a creator and founder of a convention here in Columbia, South Carolina called Soda City Comic Con. Let me put it in the chat. So if anybody who sees this and sorry, put up the wrong thing. Here we go. So we just left San Diego.
I mean, we
This
didn't
is
just
the
leave San Diego.
I'm saying as far as conventions.
Okay.
Yeah. Kim from Chicago, I'm gonna block you now. Let me go ahead and find that 3 button.
Oh
I'm gonna
man,
block
that's
Kim from
funny.
Chicago. Everybody say bye to Kim from Chicago. He will no longer be on the channel.
That is hilarious. I love it.
So we're going to be at Soda City Comic Con. Donald Brock was nice enough to let us be a part of his convention. We're going to be doing panels. We're going to be doing interviews. So hopefully some of that stuff that you see on our channel will come from the comic book that convention. There's some interviews I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully we'll be able to post on the channel. And hopefully, if everything works out, we're hoping to do a couple of live shows from out there. Do this, me and him sitting together. Hopefully. Hey man, I'm speaking into
I know,
existence.
Lee. I realized. Have I always been the pessimist? I feel like you were the pessimist and I was the optimist, and the roles have definitely
It
switched.
might have changed.
Leroy's
It might have
definitely more the
changed.
optimist now. I guess I'm more just like, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll see what we can do.
I will say this: when we were on the other channel, when we were on the nerds, I wasn't the pessimist. I was the realist. Like, okay, how do we do
Mhm,
this? And you were like, we'll just do it, and we would just get there, and I would just figure it out.
mhm.
I work with a guy who does that now, and I apologize because I know how frustrating that is. Um,
Woo, woo, sigh, man.
let me tell you right now, I work with a guy. He is very talented.
Hmm.
He's going to help me in a lot of things, just personally, as far as like I'm talking nose lighting. This man knows like set design. His name is Josh. He knows set design. He knows light. He knows the business. He's a very talented individual. Um, Kim from Chicago. Shut your trap.
No, Ken from Chicago was on your side.
No, he's not.
Banks is the one who wasn't on your side. The way I'm reading it.
Both of them are not on my side.
See, I took it as Ken from Chicago saying, "Oh, he definitely paid him back."
No, ain't no paid dude. Not one chicken sandwich he owes.
That's what Banks
Leroy
is
hasn't
saying.
repaid. And Kim from Chicago says, no way Leroy hasn't repaid any chicken sandwiches he owed Mike.
Right.
So he's saying, I had to repay those chicken sandwiches, and I need him to stop bringing
That's
that
not
up.
how I
I need
took it.
both of them.
I took it as Banks being on my
Look,
side about not getting chicken sandwiches. Ken was on your side, but I could be wrong.
stop bringing up chicken sandwiches because I owe this Negro about at least 4 of them.
I mean, it is what it is.
Probably. Anyway,
I'm chunky, so it's okay if I miss a meal. I'll be fine.
man, let me tell you, Mr. Banks, you just got banned too. You and Kim from Chicago can go
We
sit
only
in the
have
penalty
so
box.
many faithful followers. You can't be banning these people. We need them. We need
I
them
don't
to
even
be
know how to ban.
evangelists.
Sir, I don't even know how to ban people. Remember when the porn started showing up and we couldn't get rid of that for a while?
Yeah, that was weird. It hasn't been back in
It
a while.
was.
Maybe they
It
realized
hasn't.
we're not a big enough channel for that to matter. Maybe, I don't know.
But anyway, so I apologize. And the recent things of me just like coming up with ideas and you just being like, I don't know how we go do this. And I'm like, we'll figure it out. So I work with a guy who does that. And it is nerve wracking. Like people are like, what are we doing? And Josh will just run over and just do something. And it's like, it works. But we had no plan for that to work out.
It's been my
So
life
yeah.
for 5 or 6 years now at this point.
Whoa. It ain't been 5 or 6 years. It is not.
When that
Because
channel started, News 19 Nerds was 5 or 6 years ago, I think.
it was.
Okay.
But in my defense, I had help. Adam was really the driver behind that.
Fair enough.
Bank 757, you are correct. It's 9. It's now 11, but yeah, we had 9 people watching, so I really can't get rid of anybody. Like I really need to go on Katie's other laptop, log in, so there's 12 people watching.
Real talk. Thank you for everybody who's been in the chat with us this time, coming in and see us. We know we don't stream as often as we would like and as consistently, but yeah, like Leroy said, Real Talk, we will try to get better about that, and hopefully the more we do that, the more people we can grow the channel. So I mean, tell your friends, tell your families, tell your enemies. We're streaming usually Saturdays around 9:30.
Yeah, we're trying. I know with football coming back, it's going to be hard. A lot of people probably not going to be watching 2 Negroes talk about nerd shit, but we're definitely going to try to do more.
You can watch the VOD. It'll be up.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to try to do more of this kind of stuff. But it's just been hard because I had to find a new job, so I got to get acclimated to my new schedule. Michael was working hard because for a while, I don't know if you guys know this, just to give you a little insight behind the scenes. Michael's an executive producer. He's supposed to oversee shows. His job is not to make the show. And for a while, he was doing that for at least a year.
Like 9 months.
Okay,
9 months. Not a whole year.
So he was doing the show. So he wasn't able to oversee the show. He was doing the show. So that threw a monkey wrench in a lot of things because we couldn't do stuff because he was doing a lot of stuff. So yeah, Kim from Chicago. I haven't started season 2, and I'm not sure how I feel about this musical episode that everybody keeps talking about.
We
'Cause
like you said, we need to be watching this before August 23rd.
Paramount Plus.
We got some stuff to watch at Paramount Plus in about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta barrel down. Also, Michael can eat shit because I am loving Suits.
I think you're farther than me. I'm still on like season 3.
I'm halfway through season 4 right
Yeah,
now.
see, there you go.
I'm halfway through season 4. I hate you and everything you stand for because I can't stop watching this show.
It's a very easy show to watch.
It is, but I just want to see what happens next. And I've gotten to the point where I really enjoy the characters. I don't like some of the things they do. Matter of fact, I really
Oh,
hate
all
some
the
of
characters
things
are
they do.
garbage. But that's how
Oh,
you
no,
get
they're
with.
not.
I feel like most of the characters are like, you know what? You just need to take a timeout, and then maybe somebody else won't
Nope.
take your law firm. That's all I'm saying. Just take a
Th-
timeout
here-
and
here-
breathe. But that's okay.
Here's where I disagree with you. I think one character is not garbage, and she has not been garbage the entire time.
Are you talking about
She's
Donna?
made a mistake. Yep.
Yeah, Donna's awesome.
Donna's the only person who has um now I used to love, all I'm gonna say is this. There's a character I love that I did not think made mistakes that were detrimental to the show. Season 4 has changed my opinion of that person, and I am
Interesting.
like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not gonna say who it is. I'm not gonna say if it's male or female. Now I will say this: as bad as Harvey is, he is my favorite character. He is a terrible
You
dude.
said that a lot when we were on Comic-Con. You were like, I like this guy. And you're like, shit.
I do. I do.
Yep.
So that's what we've been doing. That's what we're doing, and we apologize for not being Gina. Hey, Gina, like I forgot
That's
how
a bad woman.
beautiful. I forgot how beautiful that woman
Yeah.
was. Do you remember Cleopatra 2030?
Like, I didn't watch it, but I remember I'm familiar with the show. Yeah.
I used to watch it.
Okay.
I used to watch it. I remember when the syndicate. I used to watch it. Gosh, that show was terrible. But anyway, Gina, you're right. Gina Torres is awesome. So yeah, that's what we wanted to be. We're always transparent here. We're always honest with what's going on. Try to keep you in. So, Cleopatra 2525. Thank you, Kim from Chicago. Wait a minute. You're supposed to be banned, sir. But thank you. So yeah. So that's what's been going on with us. Just want to be honest with what's going on, y'all. Protect your mental health. I say this all the time. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for participating. Thank you for the conversation. Hip hop is 50.
And we won't be back at this time next week because we'll hopefully be shutting down our booth at Soda City Comic-Con. But like Leroy said, we're going to try and stream
In the
Saturday.
afternoon.
Yeah,
We're
it'll
gonna-
be in the afternoon
yeah,
sometime.
Yeah, we're going to try to stream in the afternoon, let you guys know. Hopefully, the goal is, so just to give you guys a run through of what we're going to do real quick. We got a booth on the floor.
I don't know why you're telling them these plans.
I'm just going to tell them what the goal is. We got a booth on the floor. Hopefully, we're going to be able to stream. Hopefully, we'll be able to do interviews with people that we know who are in the nerd business, whether they are cosplayers, actors, comic shop owners. We're just going to talk for an hour or two or however long we can get the stream going on the floor and introduce you to people you might not know about or some people you might know about. And that's it. So if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But hopefully some of the things and some of the people we talk to will be able to put up on the channel. So
Cool. All right, folks. That's it for us. We'll see you sometime next Saturday. Till then, later.
deuces, we out.